So one of the major issues that a lot of fans face when they purchase physically, let's say a Paramount or Lionsgate film or some kind of film from a independent, up-and-coming independent studio, is whether or not they'll be able to use the digital code that comes along with it, if it does come with a digital code, to basically redeem the movies on the very popular, ever-growing website, streaming service site, I should say, known as Movies Anywhere. And unfortunately, when it comes to Paramount, Lionsgate, and some variety of independent studios up and coming or established, the unfortunate answer is no. And the reason for that, in my opinion, has to be contractual reasons. Now, Paramount is not the only studio, major studio that is, to kind of hold off on this. For a time, Warner Brothers and Universal, and still somewhat to an extent when it comes to certain titles, but a majority of the time, Warner Brothers and Universal were also in the same boat as Paramount. They did not want to work with Movies Anywhere. And technically, when it comes to certain movies, like I said, they still don't. But lately, obviously, some higher-ups on both sides of the coin were able to work out a deal, I should say, with Movies Anywhere. And Movies Anywhere is now one of the more acceptable options that you could utilize to use a digital code to redeem your film with. So that way you not only have a physical version at home, but you have the digital copy you can watch anywhere you want. But why is Paramount, Lionsgate, and some other independents like Draft House holding out? What's going on? And I think it's mainly because, in my opinion, Movies Anywhere wanted to offer a very similar deal that they offered Warner Brothers, they offered Universal, they offered Disney, and so on. They wanted to offer them this same identical deal, and Paramount's like, no, we're not doing that. We don't want that deal, we want this. Because in my honest opinion, I don't know really what happened or what's going on that's preventing a working relationship between the two occurring. But my assumption is they want, a bigger piece of the pie. Because you can't tell me that when people purchase or redeem, digital versions of these movies, or movies they want to see, that studios don't, share a slice of the profit along with Movies Anywhere, or along with any of the other streaming outlets like Vudu and Amazon Prime and Apple TV and Google and Fandango. You can't tell me they don't share a bit of the profits, because they do. So my assumption is, like I said, Movies Anywhere was going to offer them the same kind of deal, both Paramount, Lionsgate, and some of these other up-and-coming, if not established, independent studios like Draft House and such, and Blumhouse. Blumhouse I think might be okay with Movies Anywhere, but still, all these other independent, up-and-coming established studios, they were probably going to offer them the same thing, and Paramount and Lionsgate are like, no, we're not going to take that offer, because maybe they feel it's too insulting, or maybe because Paramount is a major studio, Lionsgate is an up-and-coming major studio, they want basically a share of that revenue. They want a major share of that revenue. They want not just a half a pie or a certain percentage of the pie. They don't want 50-50. They don't want 60-40. No, they don't want that. They want, basically, in my opinion, 80-20 or 90-10. That's what they want. And we're not talking them getting the 10% and they're getting the 20%. No, they want the 90%. They want the 80%. They don't want the lesser. They don't want to go 50%, 50%. They don't want to go 60%, 40%. No, they want the whole pie, in my opinion. And I think that's the holdout. I think that if the people at Movies Anywhere and all these other streaming services, digital streaming services like Vudu, Amazon, Fandango, Apple, Google, you name it, I feel that if they come out and make the deal that companies like, or studios I should say, like Paramount, Lionsgate, and some of the independent ones want, if they come out and say, okay, we'll work with what you want, we'll work with the deal you want, and go from there, that's when I think that, the forbidden door to the Paramount library, to the Lionsgate's library, to these independent libraries will finally be open, and people will be able to use a site like, like Movies Anywhere to be able to redeem, their digital code from the physical version of the movie they bought, or buy the digital version of the movie that they got from there, especially if it's a Paramount, Lionsgate, or one of the various independent movies that that I've mentioned, or at least I've alluded to. So, honestly, to me, it's more about contractual a contractual obligation, agreement, if you will, to where Paramount, Lionsgate, and others that are still holding out, and they shouldn't, in my opinion, want a bigger piece of that pie. They want the whole, almost not the whole pie, but almost the whole pie. They want almost the whole pie, and that's it. So, to me, I think, if there's, everybody talks about leadership change and everything at these various studios over the years. I think there needs, especially when it comes to certain divisions, I think the home video distributing division, streaming and physical, digital, I should say, digital, streaming, physical, that needs to be, changed up. The higher ups in that division, the person in charge of that division, whether it's Paramount, Lionsgate, or the independents, or all of them combined, those people that call the shots, they need, and I say it with all due respect. I say it with all due respect because they do work with these other streaming platforms and all that. But, the thing is to me, they need to have different people in charge. People that look at the bigger picture and like, look, we can't hold off on this. This doesn't make sense. And hopefully somebody points out to the current people in charge of these divisions that, look, we're still sharing space with all these other studios movies, places like Vudu, Amazon, Apple TV, Google, Fandango. They can point out that they're still sharing space. So what's the big deal of movies anywhere? So hopefully somebody either gets into the ear of these people in running these divisions and convinces them finally to drop their pride and work out a deal, a similar deal to, I'm guessing, Warner Bros. And Universal and Disney got with Movies Anywhere, to drop their pride, or either step down and let somebody else step in and show you how it's done and how you can make profit, not lose profit, when it comes to a deal like this. Because I think that's probably one of the big issues. They think they're going to lose revenue. They think they're going to lose revenue, but they're not. They're not going to lose revenue. If anything, they're going to gain a lot. They're going to gain a lot from that additional, exposure. But it's up to them. It's up to the people running things, or running things right now, to listen to the right people, or to step down and let certain people, I should say, the right kind of people, step in and be like, okay, we're going to fix the wrongs, or we're going to make the deals that should have been made, a long time ago. So to me, I think it's more of a contractual obligation agreement, if you will, between all sides. And the fact that right now, the current regime wants almost the whole pie, when it comes to distributing the movies, not just through, places like Apple TV and Vudu, which they currently do, but mostly through Movies Anywhere, to where you could watch it from places like Amazon, Comcast, AT&T, you name it. They want, in my opinion, that whole pie, almost that whole pie, not the entire thing, but 80 to 90% of it. And that's not going to happen. And the only thing people can do is just wait and see if somebody, like I mentioned, talks to them, explains to them that, just take the deal that's on the table, and you'll be surprised, the return with the economical return that you'll get. Or this current regime has to step down and let a new regime step in and make the decisions, make the deals that they won't. And because obviously they see that there is opportunity there, more exposure, if you will, to an extent. And when it comes to some of the movies and shows. But what do you guys think? What do you think is the holdup between Paramount and Movies Anywhere and Lionsgate and Movies Anywhere, as well as some of these independent studios? What do you think the holdup is? Let me know down below in the comments. Live chat during the premiere. Live chat is open. You can also support me over at Venmo at Brian-Romer-2, Cash App at BWRoses98. You can support me at the Teespring store, where merchandise is there, where I have merchandise there where you can't purchase, I should say, anywhere else, and as well as some new MLP related merchandise. You can check that out there. Also, you can check me out at VENMO at BW Roses for content you can't get here on YouTube. You can also check me out at BW Roses Discussions, all your favorite audio podcast platforms except for Pandora. You will get an audio version of this as well down the line. You can also check me out at deviantart.com, so that's BVW1979. And at patreon.com, so that's BW Roses with a $1 or $3 tier. I'm possibly going to be doing a $5 Q&A tier, but I'm still working on that. So be on the lookout if indeed that does happen. And really, that's about it, guys. But let me know what your thoughts are. What do you think the holdup is? And until then, I will talk to you later.